webinar. My name is Tony Hampel and I'm Director of Product Marketing at Nexenta. Today I'm very pleased to be joined as a co-presenter by Andrew Brandt. He's a solution engineer with International Computer Concepts, and together we'll be delivering this webinar. A couple of housekeeping items first. We'll handle questions, if you can just type them into your chat box, and then we'll handle them as they come in and or at the end of the session. Also, this presentation will be recorded and will be posted to our websites. So with that, let's start the webinar. So today we're going to be talking about enterprise class storage for everybody. A little bit about Nexenta. We started selling products in 2008 and we have about 200 people employed with us today worldwide. We're headquartered in Silicon Valley, and to date we have about 5,000 commercial deployments of our Nexenta Store product, and that is based in the software-defined storage part of the industry. In fact, we're the industry leader. In addition to that, we have a large community presence with the open source community. They've downloaded over 72,000 copies of our free version. We'll talk a little bit about that later in this presentation. And lastly, worldwide we have approximately 300 resellers and OEMs, but obviously we're very proud to have International Computer Concepts, or ICC, as one of our premier resellers, and as I mentioned earlier, they're partnering with us today. Now, from a use case perspective, we serve many use cases, too many to discuss here, but for a few of them are SAN and NAS, cloud hosting, virtualization, VDI, backup archive, disaster recovery, and so on. Now, in today's industry, there's a trend away from legacy storage companies. So the market is now moving towards having software as a differentiator, and hardware is being commoditized. So the industry is emerging as a software-defined data center. So really, the old guard, shall we call them, in storage, companies like NetApp, EMC, Hitachi, in networking, Cisco and Brocade, and in the server business, these companies are really giving way to a new order. In the software-defined data center, one of the key areas is software-defined storage, of which, as I mentioned earlier, Nexenta is a leader. But we're joined with Dell, HP, and IBM. Now, in addition to that, there's a new class of networking companies emerging, such as software-defined networking is a category. And those companies include Nicira, Big Switch, and Pluribus. Virtualization is carrying forward. Now, as the leader in software-defined storage, I want to spend a moment and tell you about our vision. So, Nexenta's vision is to deliver enterprise hardware independent storage software. So basically, we're a software company that delivers a storage OS independent of the hardware platform. And that can be deployed for an ever-increasing set of workloads, both in file and block and object. And the way we deploy our solutions, we can integrate our management infrastructure into whatever users' management infrastructure they prefer. Because we're a software operating system for storage, that means then users are free to choose their own storage hardware, and for that matter, server hardware. Now, I know that ICC is very close with Supermicro, and we certainly support those platforms, and Andrew will talk more about Supermicro in a few minutes. But what we do is we allow users to be hardware agnostic. You can deploy whatever hardware in the storage space you desire, or you can repurpose existing hardware so that you can use Nexenta Store as a storage head. So from a deployment perspective, you can deploy wherever you would wish. Nexenta Store can be deployed on bare metal or within a virtual appliance or a virtual storage appliance, a VSA if you prefer. Now, you may not be aware, but Nexenta recently announced a new product. It was called Nexenta VSA for VMware Horizon View. Rather a long name, but basically this is a VDI solution. It's really an I/O accelerator for increasing performance on the desktops. And when I talk about desktops, I'm also referring to mobile devices, tablets and cell phones and so on. From a server perspective, we increase desktop density and we provide with auto-configuring and auto-management, and everything is done in real time. And again, this is vendor agnostic. Now, there are many challenges to the traditional file system or storage industry. Many storage solutions don't have any kind of defense against silent data corruption. Typically, the same solutions are proprietary, they're hard to manage, hard to provision. They have limitations on their scalability and high-end capacity, as well as the number and size of the files you can store. And obviously, linear performance often doesn't happen. It's a little lumpy, shall we say. By contrast, I'd like to give you an overview of Nexenta Store, which is a different kind of solution. So Nexenta Store is based around unified storage, block and file, as I mentioned earlier. As I also mentioned earlier, we're a leading solution in the software-defined data center. Some people refer to it as the application-defined data center because the storage solutions are tailored around different applications. Now, it runs on standard, or if you prefer, commodity hardware, and you get some really incredible savings, both in CapEx and OpEx, because of the end-to-end data integrity features or the unlimited file systems. Like most hardened, mission-critical storage systems, we include replication, compression, deduplication, provisioning, and many other features which we don't have the time to really get into here. Most companies who do storage solutions will tell you that they have a powerful, intuitive user interface that gives you real-time monitoring and analytics, and we're not going to disappoint you. On the screen here, I'm showing you an image of our graphical user interface for storage administration. Now, for those administrators who don't want to be encumbered by having a GUI interface, we also provide a command line interface. So if you prefer to add just the syntax portion, no problem. We give you that capability. So what makes Nexenta Store such a high-performing product? At the core is the ZFS file system. Originated through Sun Microsystems, has been open sourced, and has a very, very large following. What we do is we've taken that solution and we have used our engineers to increase the number of features on it. Likewise, the community has also been working to increase the number of features, and Nexenta and the ZFS community exchange code, and as a result of that, we have the ability to stretch our engineering staff beyond more engineers than most other storage companies will have. We also work tirelessly to harden the source code and make it a commercial product under the brand of Nexenta Store. We use an Illumos kernel. That's why we can call this an operating system for storage. It's a proven technology. It has unlimited data integrity. It's extremely scalable. By the way, is the fidelity okay? Can you hear me fine?
Yes, you sounds really good.
All right, great. Thank you. So continuing on. The ZFS advantage then is because it's based around a 128-bit file system. You know, according to this slide, that's 16 billion times out of a 64-bit file system. I'm not quite sure how big that is. It's beyond my comprehension, but that is really one of the reasons why we have this unlimited scalability and unlimited capacity. What you get as part of the ZFS file system is high availability because the RAID is built in as well as a volume manager. There's no journaling here. It's all copy on write. And that silent data corruption we talked about a couple of slides ago, well, that's handled here through data checksumming at every point. So you don't get bit rot. Now, because this is a well-known, well-deployed solution, it's actually won some awards. One of them was at Tech World last year. So Nexenta Store won a Storage Product of the Year award in 2012. Now, other than the community usage and the community edition, which I mentioned earlier, and by the way, I want to tell you there's almost 3/4 of a petabyte of storage being used by the community, and that's at no charge. So that helps with the bulletproofing of this product offering. But in addition to that community edition, I've made several references to an enterprise edition, an enterprise deployment within the data center. And so we have a perpetual license based on capacity with no additional charge for upgrades for that. So that would be the commercial edition that's deployed in the data center by SMB or large enterprise organizations. Now, in addition to this, we extend the features and functionality of the ZFS or Nexenta Store, and we do that through plugins. Now, we call them licensed features, and we have licensed features for higher levels of HA, so HA cluster, namespace cluster, virtual machine management, synchronous replication, and a lot more besides. Now, we provide really good technical support, but I know that ICC has a great tech support department, and you should really talk to them before you talk to us, because I'm sure they can give you some wonderful options for support services and professional services. Now, Nexenta Store is used in a variety of use cases, which we've already discussed on the lower half of the slide. But you may not be aware that we also are in lots of horizontal and vertical markets. Horizontal would be, examples of that would be internet hosting, cloud services. Verticals would be financial services management, media and entertainment, healthcare, life sciences, and so on. In fact, many IT companies use Nexenta Store as their own storage solution within their IT organizations. Now, you'd expect a director of product marketing at Nexenta to be very enthusiastic about his products. So perhaps it's better to look at an independent source, so just listen to me. In January of this year, Gartner issued a report that highlighted a lot of the competitive products to Nexenta Store. So I selected a couple of slides and share with you. One of them is on large home directories. That's really NAS deployment. And as you can see by this slide, it's very colorful, maybe a little hard to read for some. So to simplify it, the bullets on the right-hand side outline that Nexenta Store is the best NAS for capacity deployment. That can be seen in the light blue area on this slide. It's one of the most efficient general-purpose NAS solutions, and it aggressively competes with higher-priced NAS offerings. So the top four on this table, EMC, IBM, Hitachi, and NetApp, they're a lot more expensive both to purchase and to run. So Nexenta provides you a better TCO over a 3-year period. Now, for the next slide, let's look at backup and archiving. This is a really interesting slide because, as you'll see, the top 3 are tied with Nexenta Store. So really, what is this slide saying? It's saying that Nexenta Store has the best capacity for backup and archiving, and for infrequently accessed data, this solution is one of the best in the industry. And let's face it, why would you want to pay a high price for data that you rarely use? And it's considered to be as good or even better than other high-priced offerings from an overall feature functionality perspective. Now, what I have here is a common deployment scenario. This is looking at multi-data center with disaster recovery and failover. Now, I realize that may be larger than many companies want to deploy, and so if you feel that this implementation is beyond your scope, you can always narrow it down to a single data center. But just to explain the graphic, we have a primary data center with Nexenta Store running in this image on a couple of Dell servers as storage heads. And then on the right-hand side of the graphic, we have either an active-active or an active-passive mirror image of that. So should one side go down, the other side will automatically fail over, and that can be done up to a 30-mile radius. In the center is our management interface, and above, on the top of this diagram, is our VDI I/O accelerator product. We call it NT4V for short. Now I'm going to take a pause, and I'm going to hand over to Andrew to deliver some information to you about ICC. Andrew?
Thanks for that, Tony. ICC is a systems integrator, and we are uniquely positioned to deliver enterprise-grade storage solutions with a guaranteed hardware compatibility, predictable performance, and assured stability. The experience that we have with Supermicro goes back to some of the earliest Supermicro products. We were one of the first and largest Supermicro partners going back to the early 1990s. We are very much so unique in terms of our partnership with not only Supermicro but Intel. We're an LSI elite partner and centrally located in Chicago. And our capabilities as an industry partner, we provide class-leading manufacturing backed by ISO 9001-2008 certified. We provide stringent hardware and performance diagnostics and full system stress testing during the manufacturing process, and we are a value-added technology services partner. We provide proprietary account management and application access to our order and product manufacturing system with a direct API. The key to this is that we work with our clients to determine system requirements. We're supported by Supermicro and Nexenta, and we deliver a performance and capacity optimized configuration. We're simple to work with, we keep it simple, and we deliver a quality service and always on reliability based solution set. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. So, we're touching on this at a very high level. I hope you're beginning to see that this is really a very, very different idea. It's really a shift of paradigm from the traditional storage industry, because Nexenta Store solves some of the traditional issues of file systems. As I demonstrated to you, there is no silent data corruption or bit rot. You have the choice of using our GUI, our CLI, or integrating it into an existing management infrastructure so that you can have a single pane of glass. Performance, scalability, and adding capacity is really up to you, the user. Because we're based on a 128-bit file system, we don't have some of these high-end limitations, and because we're storage vendor agnostic, we mean it's not a forklift upgrade when you want to add a little bit of capacity. So basically what I'm suggesting here is that we have, under Nexenta Store, we have a storage operating system that is flexible to handle just about all the major workloads we see in business and government deployments. We can consolidate multiple storage pools from different vendors. We certainly leverage all of the hard work, both from the open source community around ZFS, plus our own company's hardening and deployment and experience over the years we've been doing this. So really then, the user has the freedom to choose either the best new hardware for the deployment in their data center environment, re-leverage and repurpose already owned hardware within the data center, but they can then marry it and build it very custom to their needs. And this is all transparent to the user. So with that, I'm going to end the session. I will pause to see if there's any questions. I do want to thank my partner here, Andrew, presenting. We have a great relationship with ICC. They are a premium partner of ours, and we enjoy doing business together, and the benefit is with the end user deployments. So it doesn't look like we're getting very many questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 4 minutes back into your day. I want to thank you for listening to us, for your participation, and I know ICC would welcome you getting in touch with them and drilling down a little deeper than we had the time to do today. So with that, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.